In the previous episode of Tayou's story, we saw his amazing development in strength thanks to training, and we also saw him helping Sumi organize the many documents in her possession. However, Kang-hoo's private documents were missing, and they had to search for them in order to arrest him. Then we saw Shinzu's extreme fear when he ran out of ammo in the middle of a mission, and he literally looked like a wet bird while talking to Mitsume. So Tayou was forced to take weapons and go to Shenzhou's place, and he actually managed to reach him and provide him with weapons, eliminate everyone there, and recover the painting. But Tayou was injured in his foot, so what will happen to him after he adapted to his strength and became so brave? This is what we will find out in today's episode. But before we start, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button. We then see Tayou walking down the street, holding his phone, talking to and joking with Mitsume. She tells him that she wants to watch the sunset with him from the wind wheel, known as the Wheel of Death. Because the couple who will live very happily while they are talking, Tayou notices a car stopping in the street next to them, and a strange-looking person gets out. Tayou is forced to end the call with Mitsuomi immediately. This person approaches Tayou and asks him if his name is Tayou. When Tayou answers in the affirmative, the person takes out his police card, introduces himself as Seiji, a policeman from Kusio district, and asks him to accompany him. Tayou actually goes with him, and there the officer shows him a photo of himself beating a man during a mission with Shenzhou, and tells him that this photo was posted on the dark web, and asks him if it was really him or not. Tayou realizes that his photo has spread on the internet, and says to himself that they said they are monitoring all of the Zakuro family's activities. But the officer does not remain silent, and shows him another picture of him holding a weapon and beating him, and this is another charge. This is in addition to being accused of destroying private property and participating in a morning car chase on the road. They also accuse him of blowing up his school with the bomb planted by the villain who wanted to kill Mitsuomi. Then he asks him, "Are you trying to become a crime kingpin or what?" Tayou does not know what to say, because there are other crimes that he did not commit that are attributed to him. The officer then tells him that there is something strange, which is that there is no evidence of the people cooperating with him, even though all the crimes are beyond his capabilities. "Sure boy, you belong to a secret organization." Then he tells him that if he has anything, let him tell him to reduce the punishments for him, even if just a little, and asks him to reveal anything for his benefit. But Tayou thinks and says that he cannot and will not betray them no matter what, and tells the officer that he does not know anything. The officer tells him not to cover anyone, looks at him, and puts something in front of him. Tayou is surprised that his chains do not allow him to see the thing he placed, but the officer tells him that they are just useful metals and do no harm. He grabs the cup and forces Tayou to drink, but Tayou pretends to cough under the table and takes out a magic balloon that was in his mouth. "Oh, I swallowed water!" Then he gets up and tells him that he said he didn't know anything, but he finds the officer coming from behind him and attacking him with a hammer. Tayou quickly dodges the blow, goes to the wall of the room and finds a bag with blood underneath, and it appears to be a dead body in the bag. The officer tells him that this is a drug dealer who has ruined the lives of many and exploited his acquaintances and the influence of his relatives. He took advantage of his escape from justice, but the hand of justice finally reached him. The policeman grabbed Tayou by the neck and pinned him against the wall. Tayou thinks and asks himself, "Is this crazy really a policeman?" The officer threatens to interrogate his friends at school if he does not confess. Tayou notices a metal wire hanging from the policeman's ear that looks like Kyoshiro's. Tayou says, "I don't know anything, and even if I did, I wouldn't reveal it to someone like you." The officer attacks him with the hammer, but Tayou escapes at the last moment, and the blow creates a hole in the wall from which Kyoshiro appears. "If I were a little late, my precious suit would have been damaged," he says. "It seems I've been exposed," the officer comments. Kyoshiro replies, "Exactly, sir. You have failed to conceal your matter." Tayou stands in amazement and says, "Can someone explain what's happening? I don't understand anything." Kyoshiro puts his hand on Seiji's shoulder and tells Tayou that they were classmates in the first year of high school. Kyoshiro cooperates with the police in exchange for his help in his gang's activities. Seiji didn't seem to like Kyoshiro much and said, "You're still an annoying person. Suddenly attacking like that?" Then he tells me that your brother will lose. Kyoshiro comments, "More good is good." Then they asked about Tayou's performance, and Seiji told him that he had not betrayed his allies or been provoked by my provocations, and thus he had succeeded. Seiji expressed his enthusiasm to work with him again. Kyoshiro asked Seiji to let him check on Tayou for a bit. Seiji then asked Kyoshiro to assign him a mission in exchange for his help, but Kyoshiro ignored him, pretending not to hear, and said, "It's time for my mission now. I have to go." Kyoshiro left quickly. Tayou then went to school very exhausted. Misumi came to check on him and asked him what happened, but she was interrupted by Kyoshiro, who entered the class announcing that he would replace the absent teacher and teach them a modern Japanese language class. He called out to Tayou and asked him if he had anything with him, but Tayou couldn't stand Kyoshiro at all. In the middle of the class, Tayou felt very sleepy, so he fell asleep. But suddenly he felt something coming towards him and moved away. This thing penetrated the wall forcefully. It was just a message. The one who threw this thing was the crazy Kyoshiro, who communicates with him through the sound of chalk clicks, telling him, "The spy must learn to control even his sleep patterns by sleeping with half his brain and writing this with a sign using the chalk." Dolphins and migratory birds can remain in a constant state of alertness, and that humans can also acquire this skill if they work hard to practice it. He also tells him that he himself has gotten rid of full sleep since the age of 15. Tayou says to him, "You mean you have stopped being human, man? You are not normal. May God curse you." Kyoshiro responds by saying that he will control his heart rate using his strings, and if he finds out that he has fallen asleep, he will throw chalk at him at the speed of sound. Tayou also communicates with him through the sound of the pen tapping, and he cannot believe that he is training him even in class. Mitsume also contacts him and tells Kyoshiro that he should back off because he is torturing Tayou, worried about her husband. But all that matters to Kyoshiro is that he is happy that Mitsume opened the discussion with him, encrypted in this way. But Mitsuomi tells him that he overstepped his bounds and exhausted Tayou too much. But Tayou reassures her and tells her not to worry about me. He can succeed in these exercises easily. Kyoshiro grabs a green pill and hits the blackboard with it, causing the whole class to change and all the students to fall asleep. It makes Tayou skip sleep more. And Sumi is still worried. Wearing a gas mask, she tries hard to stop Kyoshiro from what he is doing, and he applauds her, mocking the fact that she is carrying a protective mask. She expresses to him her displeasure at having to use it against him. It later becomes clear that the gas used is Nano's sleeping gas. Kyoshiro inhales it once and immediately falls into the world of dreams. Mitsumi tries to keep Tayou from sleeping, but he is clearly asleep. Kyoshiro prepares the chalk and stands on it. Suddenly, Tayou wakes up and shoots chalk with his gun. Before Mitsuomi can be sure that he is awake, she discovers that he is actually asleep. But he is able to move. Kyoshiro explains that Tayou has reached a half-awake state and is preparing the chalk again. Mitsumi tries to stop Kyoshiro, accusing him of trying to turn Tayou into a monster. Kyoshiro defends himself, stressing that everything he does is for her and Tayou's sake. He throws the chalk at Tayou, who dodges it and shoots them with his gun. Mitsuomi watches with sadness what happens to Tayou as a result of Kyoshiro's crazy actions, and how he gradually loses his humanity. Tayou starts walking around the house while he's asleep. We see him later reading in a magazine. We know that because of all this overwork, his relationship with Tsumi is starting to change, and thus he may lose her. He also reads that 90% of spy relationships end in divorce because of this dialogue. Then he finds that Mitsuomi has brought him tea and says to him, "Come in, my hero." He tries to talk to her and ask her out, but he is interrupted by the phone ringing. Tayou looks and finds that the caller is an unknown number. He answers and finds that the caller is Saiji, who tells him that it is time for the mission and he should move now, and will send him the place and location. Tayou curses his luck, then apologizes to Mitsume and tells her that he has an emergency mission, and then leaves. Tayou arrives at the place, which is an amusement park, and calls Saiji and tells him that he has arrived. Saiji tells him that there is a married man and woman carrying banned weapons in the amusement park, and he must expose and arrest them. Tayou asks him what they look like, but Saiji tells him that he will reveal the matter to him later, and that he must monitor everyone around him. Tayou was sitting alone, looking around curiously, when a young girl looked at him curiously. Tayou was worried that he would be found out. He is alone here. Suddenly, he was offered a drink, and when he looked at who served it, he was shocked to see Mitsume. He whispered to her, asking how she knew where he was, and she explained that she had asked Saigo, who told her where he was, and that him sitting with her in a place like this would seem normal. Tayou frowned. He expressed his concern for her, so she advised him to lower his voice, fearing that the couple he was looking for might be nearby. She then noticed 3 couples sitting in the place, and their appearance was strange, so she pointed at them apprehensively and told Tayou that she was able to defend herself. Since he was here too, nothing would surely happen to her. But she will still need protection. After that, she makes him taste her juice, while she is in a state of happiness. Tayou tells himself that this might be his chance to entertain Misumi and Bella. Later, he notices 2 people. He notices that there are 2 people sitting, a young man and his girlfriend. Then he says to her, "Your arms are delicate." Does she like his words? Tayou takes the matter seriously and imitates him, nervously telling Mitsume, "Your legs are strong and you can use them to strike," while Mitsume appears surprised and says, as she goes along with him in talking. Next, you notice 2 suspicious-looking people heading towards the sky train. The wind turned towards Tayou and suggested that she go for a ride behind them. They rode the amusement park, and everyone was happy except for Tayou, who fell asleep. As for the duo who followed him, the girl was enjoying herself while the young man's face showed panic. After the game ended, Tayou apologized for what he had done, explaining that he was tired from work. Mitsume reassured him that she understood his situation, then turned his attention to the couple in front of them who had stormed out of the game in panic. The husband said that he was ashamed of playing games like this, and that they ruined his day. Tayou and Mitsu noticed the couple exchanging shy looks and stuttering in conversation, so they concluded that they were not a couple. Then they moved their observation to another duo with a strong build and a strange appearance that aroused their suspicions. Tayou and Mitsuo rode the same toy they rode before, and Mitsumi enjoyed it very much. In the same game, the duo who were very friendly and wearing pink uniforms rode. After the game ended, Tayou felt like he had failed again, but Mitsumi pointed him towards the suit-clad duo entering the game store. They followed them to the store only to find the duo dressed in pink, but not the duo they were looking for. Tayou continued searching until some beautiful roses caught his attention. Tayou wants to give a beautiful bouquet of roses to Tsumi. Afterwards, Tayou notices a couple in tuxedos sitting and having tea. Mitsume gets up and tells Tayou that she will get them something to drink together. Tayou overhears the husband telling his wife that he would like to show her a piece with a special design. Tayou is surprised when he sees the husband taking out something from which he takes out a ring to give to his wife, and it turns out that they were not married in the first place. Tayou crashes into the table sadly, complaining about Mitsume being tired of him and not being able to find the armed couple yet. Tayou thinks about what he is doing, then takes out a rose from his jacket and tells himself that he must do something to make Mitsume happy. Suddenly, the sound of a quarrel is heard between 2 people wearing pink clothes. It turns out that the girl gets angry with the young man because he constantly looks at another girl who works in the place, and the young man responds to her by screaming and insulting her. Tayou is surprised by this behavior, especially after he saw them interacting so kindly before. Tayou looks at the young man closely and recognizes an engraved gun, which he is sure is the weapon he is looking for. The young man pulls out a special weapon and shouts at the girl, saying that he was wrong to be associated with a person like her. People start fleeing the place, and Mitsume is among them, calling for Tayou. The young man and the girl start shooting at each other, causing great destruction in the place. Tayou goes down to hide under one of the tables and tries to calm down a frightened little boy sitting next to him. Tayou notices that the young man next to him has fallen to the ground with a gunshot wound. He gets angry and shoots them both with his pistol, threatening to throw them out and expressing his dissatisfaction with their problem. The police and Saiji arrive at the place, arrest the couple, and it seems that they want to sit together again after what happened. Saiji expresses great surprise at the situation, wondering if they are hiding their feelings for each other or what. He praises Tayou for helping him catch the criminals. At home, Kyochiro keeps a sigh of relief because they shared important moments like this. However, this is where the video ends. If you would like to follow the events, please subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive the latest videos when they are published. Hello!